During the season of Advent, the prophet Isaiah is the prophet that's usually read during the Masses. And a good chunk of the prophet Isaiah is lamenting and bewailing and bemoaning the time of exile experienced by the Israelites, where Israel was dragged out of their homelands and forced to live in an unknown territory. And not just unknown territory, but hostile territory. And one of the questions that keeps popping up in Isaiah is, why, Lord, did you allow this to happen? We, your chosen people, your loved ones, why did you allow this to happen to us? Well, I'm usually hesitant to ascribe a certain meaning, a definite reason why God allows bad things to happen, especially to good people. But when a bad thing does happen, like it did to the Israelites, it did give the Israelites a chance to reevaluate something very important in their lives. You see, Israel had this nasty tendency of falling in love with itself, of falling in love with its own abilities, and then as a result, sliding into a sort of self-worship, almost like they were praising God with their lips, but in their heart they were really stroking their own egos. You see, when things go well in life, there's a huge tendency for us to think that we are the cause of it, that our spiritual abilities and our cleverness are responsible for those blessings and things going well. And sometimes, like the Israelites, we can lose sight of the fact that, hey, God is responsible for much more than I know and much more perhaps than I'm willing to accept. And sometimes God will allow us to fall into a type of exile so that we can rediscover God's major role in our lives. And then we give that glory to where it belongs, not on us, but on God. In today's first reading, for example, God implies that this exile that the Israelites are experiencing is for the purpose of having the Israelites come to grips with their own limitations. And then when God finally showers down his blessings on them, he will do so, quote, so that all may see and know that the hand of the Lord has done this. The Holy One of Israel has created it. So again, it's like God's attempt to redirect Israel's focus on God's power and not their own power. So as we now stumble through this pandemic, which is kind of like our own exile, let's allow this whole awkward situation to redirect our focus off of ourselves and our own abilities and our own cleverness and on to Jesus, the God who can do all things.